went to see a sex worker who I didn't know. I didn't know it was a sex worker. I thought it was like a therapist. Uh, that's a long story, but he, it
It's a lot
was.
of
I
questions there.
know, I know. I The title on the website I think was not necessarily misleading, but could be interpreted in many different ways. One of which was I thought I was going to go and see a sex therapist. That wasn't it. So I arrive and it's in a dungeon, and
Were they just
and he had
wearing like
asked
a sexy nurse outfit and you were like, that looks like a doctor?
no, no. It was there were listen. There were many signs.
Okay.
There were like hands on skin and a photo on the website, and I was like, I just thought, oh, it's like a
Sex
caress
positive.
of the
Yeah.
arm. Oh, tell
Yeah.
me about your childhood, kind of thing. It wasn't. So his job was to essentially, the point of it was a 3 hour session. Again, I thought that's a long time to just talk, but I didn't put two and two together. The idea was that you would get naked if you wanted to, and then he would give you like an erotic massage and probably
Hmm.
an orgasm. Um, but it was like therapy, but it was also sex. So I arrived at this thing, and he had a ponytail that should have given it away, and we were in this dungeon. And I thought, well, maybe it's really, you know, expensive to hire an office for a therapist in London, so he might have had to put us into this latex covered room. And we start talking, and he's very sort of what I would say flirty, like hi, yeah, that kind of vibe. And I was like, oh, he's sitting very close. And I was like, okay, so I grew up there, and then my dad left, and I was like trying to give him like a background information. And then at one point I said, okay, I'm just gonna ask, what's the difference between what you do and sex work? And he said, oh, nothing. I'm a sex worker. And I was like, okay, 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 oh, okay. And at this point, I hadn't had sex in 7 years, and I was like, okay, so I'm at this is an option. Like it's an option for me to get naked and undress and let this man do his thing. But I was a complete, like I was so panicky around. I was like, I'm not there. I'm not at the point where I am ready to do this at all. I didn't wasn't attracted. Well, I think I could have been attracted to him if the possibility of sex wasn't there. But that just made my body
But
freeze
then
up.
something, yeah, something is missing from. I've had a few friends in this situation, but they did know they were going to a sex worker, and there's nothing wrong with going to a sex worker. But I think
No,
for
no,
some
no.
people, it also kind of it can further play on the low self-esteem of the fact that, well, if I'm paying this person for this, then this becomes transactional. It's not because they desire me. And how do I know if they actually desire me or not, even if they're flirting with me and acting like they are? And then it triggers that
Yeah,
part of you that isn't sure if you are wantable or lovable or
I
fuckable.
apologized so much. I was like, I'm
Hmm.
so sorry. Is it okay if I don't? Is it okay if I don't? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay, are you sure? I mean, you've come all this way. But one of the things because I ended up just telling him, like, I ended up just talking at him for those 3 hours. And we were talking about consent. And I was like, can I rehearse setting boundaries, which in itself is a funny sentence to say, may I please set a boundary? But I would kind of boss him around. I'd be like, I was like trying to listen to what my body wanted. And I was like, okay, he's too close. So I said, could you sit on the other side of the table? It wasn't a table, it was a massage table. Could you sit on the other side of the massage table? And he was like, okay. And I was like, oh. And I felt so powerful. I was like, oh my God, I've like set a boundary. And then I was like, okay, could you open the door now? I would like for the door to be a bit open. He was like, okay. And he did. And then as he was standing up and he was like about to walk back, I said, no, can you close it? And he said, okay. And then when he closed it, I was like, no, open it. And I was like, I felt mad with power because I could say in a situation where sex was on the table, I managed to say these little tiny things that my body wanted, and it was exhilarating. It was
Mm.
exhilarating because I have not been able to do that before at all. I like as soon as I was in a situation with someone who would have sex with me, I would just shut down